Hello, I'm Grant from Maker's Vlog, and today I'm going to be running some malware on my test network. Now, that sounds super exciting, but let me manage your expectations a little bit. It's actually defined malware. By that I mean it runs through the processes as if malware actually would, but it doesn't actually do anything. Now, because this is a test environment, I could legitimately go in and just run some malware. Two problems with that though. One, it means I would have to rebuild the network. I would have to back it up and then rebuild it. And two, and this is the key one, I can see the comment sections now just being filled with people going, "Where did you get the malware? Can you send me a copy of that malware?" And so on and so forth. And I get enough messages of people asking me to show them how to do illegal things as it is. So I'm not even going to open that can of worms. So this is defined malware. You can download it quite freely. There's websites you can get it from. There's people who make these things on GitHub. And this one is made by a company, and I'll put a link to the description. They've got a few free tools for testing your security. So what we're going to do is I'm on blue here, as you can see, and I'm going to go onto the desktop machine, which is the simulation of the actual end user's machine, and we're going to simulate them effectively clicking on malware. This program will then run through and show you all of the things that it could have done or could do potentially. Now this one is specifically simulating a ransomware attack, which is fairly common, especially for like a medium to small business. Although it can target larger businesses, but it's the most likely one that's sort of a generic attack that one might do or might be come in contact with. So let's go into the desktop itself and our lovely insecure passwords. If I haven't mentioned this already, in this internal test network at the minute, as I said, everything's made super insecure, and the same with the passwords. The password for everything across the board in this network is password1. So really insecure passwords, and that's intentional. One thing you might note here is no internet access. Now, I do have internet access on this machine. This is the defined malware. It's NoB4, the number 4 ransomware. Hopefully you can see that okay, ransomware simulator. And the website is just called NoB4. Now, this website and this company has a good reputation. So I'm fairly confident in running this, and that's fine. But I still don't trust them 100%. And neither should you. Anything that is claiming to be ransomware or anything like that, if it's a simulator, especially something that you've got off GitHub or somewhere else online that's to simulate an attack, I would not trust it because it's effectively malware and you're trusting that the actual malicious payload that is behind it has been removed. So the bit that actually does the damage has been removed or hasn't been implemented. You still have to trust that that's the case. As I said, this company has a good reputation, so relatively trusting. But by the same token, I've got a firewall in between it and my home network, and it's currently blocking a lot of the traffic, just in case there's something malicious in here. I'm fairly confident that there isn't, but it's always better to err on the side of caution, which is why the internet access doesn't work. It's also why I'm not remote desktoping onto this machine. Some of you may have seen, if you've seen my other videos where I step through this infrastructure, I was using a remote connection to actually to get onto it, whereas this I'm using the VMware's inbuilt systems to access it, which connects differently. And I'm using that just because I can't get onto RDP at the minute because I have quite strict rules in place between this and my home network. So we're going to open this. This is a user opening the dodgy email or whatever it may be. Okay, and you can actually see that there is a ton of stuff going on here. This is because I've already ran this to check that it worked and to make sure it doesn't actually break anything. But we're going to run this again. So here we are, and as you can see, we have 20 out of 21 scenarios it's vulnerable to, and in fact, one of those scenarios is this one. And as you can see, it says this scenario requires special settings. Please see help page for details. So this one would never run in the way that I've set this up because it's just default. So Out of all of the scenarios that it could check against, it is vulnerable to all of them. Every single one of these will run. Now, as I said, these are ransomware attacks specifically. So a lot of these are just different variations and different flavors of ransomware. The citation or Triton variant, I can never pronounce that. Hollow injector, inside cryptor, all that good stuff. It's vulnerable to all of them. Every single one. This would run through and cause merry hell in the network. I know it doesn't look quite dramatic here, because it's just showing me a thing saying, oh yeah, this is vulnerable to this. It's just a report effectively. But if we look at the actual network itself, so if we look here, you can see now in an actual environment we would have much more machines. pfSense is our firewall, which is starting to be set up. I'll show another video on that once it's done. But you can see here, this is the desktop machine. It's vulnerable to absolutely everything. And what would happen is the ransomware would encrypt files on that desktop and then jump. And then it would jump to, say, web app, then web, then DCO1, DFS, all that good stuff. It would move through the network and encrypt as many machines as it could. Now, in most cases, it'll probably jump to other desktops first. So if we had, say, if you think of a business that has, say, 50 users, odds are they probably have around 50 computers, desktop machines that those users use. And, it would probably jump to them first. Most likely, it would spread to them and lock them down. But another server that it's likely to try and attack quickly is the DFS, the file server, because, attackers know that's where you store files. So it would jump to there and encrypt it. And it would then, that's your main file server encrypted. You can't access it, and it would just bleed through the network. So you can see there, it doesn't look that dramatic whenever we look at it here. But this effectively is saying that your network is fucked. Okay, it will encrypt this machine and it will have no problems getting to other machines. I can guarantee you it will absolutely wreck the network. So what can we do to actually defend against this? Well, that's going to be my next video. I am not going to bundle it into this one because it's not an easy topic to cover because there are a lot of different things you can do. One of the big things is using the firewall. So that's going to be my next step, showing you how to configure a firewall, put it in, and put rules in place to actually start protecting your devices and split them down. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I know it may not have been quite as dramatic as what you were hoping it would look like, but yeah, them's the breaks. So if you've liked, like, subscribe, all that good stuff. And if you have any suggestions of things you want to see or topics you want covered, put it in the description below. So see you later.